Alright guys, welcome back, and I'm doing probably one of the last, if not the last, deck profile before the ban list, because I feel like doing deck profiles for a format that is nearly over is a bit of a shot in the foot, and you saw from the title, we are doing a Phantom Knights deck profile. Now, as much as you guys know, if you've been following the channel, this is my favorite deck prior to Magic Key's inception in late 2020. But I think without all the fluff and stuff, this is probably one of the best decks in the current format, and this is sort of my take on it. I've taken a lot of games off people on stream, as well as in my own free time when I sort of test the deck out. So I'm just going to start with the 3 ofs that you run of the Phantom Knight monsters, being 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. This is like the main extender of the deck. You'll be doing most of your combo plays with this card. You can basically plant it on the field as a free body if you have another Phantom Knights on the field. And then also you can banish it from the graveyard to get yourself a free search of a spell. Phantom Knight spell or trap card. You usually be searching either Shade Brigandine or Magic Launch or Force, depending on what the board needs. Then you've got 3 copies of Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. This is the main searcher of the deck. You basically banish it from the graveyard to get yourself a fat search of a Phantom Knight card. You're either sending it off of Torn Scales or you're sending it off of Cherubini. Either way. Or you could even get extra raunchy and send it off of a fucking fly got my house. Lovely. You could send it off of Bardiche as well. And next we've got 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Spain GREAVES. A lot of people will run that at like 1 because it's a simple like from the hand extender, but if you draw it in your opening hand, it's just more combo. We also have a bit, now we're on to the 2-0s. First things first, we got Raiders Wing. This is actually a good way to get to the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Having a copy or 2 of this, if it's in your opening hand, it's really good, but sometimes you just want it to search if you want to go into something different. But this is one of the best ways to get up into that without having to rely on locking yourself into darks with Phantom Knight's Breaksword. We still make that in this form of the deck, but usually we're using it as like living material to go into DAGDA or PREDAPLANT, VERTE, ANACONDA. Then we have 2 copies of Torn Scales. The reason that this is at 2 is because it's a good thing to normal summon on your first turn. However, that's only if you don't open Tour Guide. And if you don't open Tour Guide, you want one of these in your hand, so you run it at 2. You're most of the time going to send it off Cherubini. So that's basically why it's at 2 and not at 3, because you can pretty much guarantee you're going to see it by a Cherubini effect, because you just banish a monster. So you get 1 copy of Ragged Gloves. This gets any of the Phantom Knights trap cards in your graveyard, and all of them revive of Phantom Knights to keep your combo going. Now here's where we get into the not non-essentials. These are very essential for the deck to be explosive as it is. This is where we get into the non-Phantom Knights monsters. We have 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. You want this in your opening hand. If you don't open this in your opening hand, you're going to try to make a control board with Fog Blade and potentially Dark Rebellion. This basically searches one card, GRAFF, which is going to go to the graveyard to make Cherubini, which is going to get this. And that's where the Burning Abyss package comes in, because when Seer goes to graveyard with Cherubini linked off to Rusty Bardiche, you get back your Cherubini. You can do more combo plays from there. We only have one copy of Kagamucha Knight. It's really good for chain blocking Tour Guide for like an Ash target. But I find that between this 1 copy and all the other gas in the deck, you don't want to rely too heavily on this being in like an opening hand or something like this. And we have 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army to search this for Desperate. Then we have the 2 monsters for the DP package because you run DP, and because you're running DP in the package, you run Scythe as well. Because this is basically how you're winning a lot of games. You're going to make this big old board, and you're going to lock your opponent out of the extra deck by popping the Scythe, and therefore you're going to win the game basically the second that you do that. Because you're going to have all these control options. You're going to have UFD, you're going to have Bardiche, along with Arc Rebellion, with the combo that I managed to pull off, because I've done the combo first so that I can give you more inference of what I'm doing in the deck profile. And now onto the trap cards. We have 2 copies of pretty much every Phantom Knight's trap card, because it's fine to draw them. You can sometimes get your hand clogged with them, but again, they all sort of serve a purpose to where you can make sort of a more of a control board where you can end on Bardiche and like just sort of control the board with Bardiche and the trap cards, which is perfectly fine. And they all have the same graveyard effect to where they revive a Phantom Knight's card. And if you can manage to get all 3 revival effects in a turn, you're basically a GOAT. Like, and then finally, 1 copy of Brigandine. This most of the time will come up in your combo plays, even if you're just using it as a name to get Dagda. Which is usually what I use it for. Onto the spell cards, we have 2 copies of Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Force and 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch. It's fine to draw one of these because it is gonna set you up to be able to do something on your opponent's turn. But more often than not, you will be searching that off of Silent Boost, so it's okay if you only want to play 1. Then, just in case we can't make Verte and we end up with Fusion Destiny in the hand, there you go. 3 copies of that. I don't think I need to explain to you why this is in the deck. You want to make DP as your end board, and you want to have as many ways as possible of doing so. Then you have a copy of Reinforcement Army, like I said, to search Kagabuchi Knight, or any Phantom Knight's card that you may want to have in your hand if you can see what your combo line is. Then you have Call by the Grave. Stops the hand trap. This can prevent your tour guide from being ashed, because tour guide's going to have a giant target on its head. Foolish Burial. A lot of your monsters have graveyard effects in this deck, so putting things into the graveyard is pretty much the ammo. And then Monster Reborn, just for some generic extension in the deck. That is the main deck. And the extra deck is really tight, at least in my build for it. There's one part that you could change to like a access code OTK instead, but I'll get to that part at the end. First, we're going to start with our Link monsters. We have 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Rusty Bardiche. I know it's at 3, but 1 Bardiche is just as good as 3 Bardiche because you can only use each effect once per turn. Then we have Cherubini. This is just a really good card. Again, you can only use each effect once per turn, but you're going to use this, and then you're going to use 2 to bring it back, and then you can use it as like combo material. And that's pretty much basically the quote-unquote archetypal Link monsters. Then you have Artifact Dagda. This gets a Scythe from the deck. And then Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. This is how you make your DP, and if that gets like Effect Veiled or something, you go in Appaloosa with the Dagda and the Predaplant, if you didn't use the Dagda to make your Predaplant. Then, in means of Xyz monsters, we're going to start with our UFD package of the 2 Leviers, the UFD itself, and the Utopic Future, which is sort of your middleman. Basically, you want to see that on your starting field anytime you have a good combo hand. But like I said, Bardiche control is definitely something you can pivot into with this deck if some bad things happen. Then we have the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon and Dark Rebellion Exodus Dragon, along with the lone copy of Breaksword in the deck. These are pretty much your of archetype Xyz that you're going to be playing, along with potentially Raiders Knight and Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Because if you make a really huge board, like going second, or you go first and your opponent can't break your board because you've Scythe locked them, you're going to make Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon with a Breaksword play. You're going to take those 2 Breakswords, you're going to make this, and then you're going to make this card right here, or you can use Raider's Wing to make it, and you go into this. And then this is going to have like over 10k plus attack, and you'll be able to hit over anything they have, or hit them directly in the face with it. It's really good for going second, or if you want to just style on your opponent. And then finally, we make DP in this deck, so we play DP in the deck. Sorry. I don't think I need to tell you guys how good this card is at this point. If you don't know how good this card is, you haven't been playing this format. That's all I gotta say. And that is the main and extra deck. The side deck is just sort of your generic board breakers, your forbidden droplets, your dark ruler no mores, and things like that. Stuff for going second, because you're gonna try to go first as often as you can, but sometimes you can't. And I will be back with that combo that I told you that I did. Pretty wild, actually. Okay, guys, I've sort of drawn my hand, and it's really good. It's a really good hand. Basically, first things first, I don't need to sugarcoat it. First thing you do is you're always going to summon Tour Guide first, and you're going to grab Graff from the deck. You're going to grab Graff. I'm not going to bother to shuffle because I'm not actually in a tournament setting. So we're going to take those two, and we're going to make Cherubini. Cherubini is going to do what it does after. Graff gets the summon from deck, being Seer. And then Cherubini is going to activate its effect. I'm going to be able to pitch a level 3 monster from the deck, being Torn Scales. And then Cherubini and Seer are going to go into Bardiche. And then Seer effect is going to activate, getting back Cherubini. Okay, just making sure there wasn't like a big scratch in the card. I'm sorry. And also because you had summoned a Phantom Knights card, Stained Greaves is going to be able to search itself to get itself out. Then we're going to use Reinforcement of the Army. Grab Silent Boots. And then we're going to special out Silent Boots. Overlay into our first Levier. And then we activate the effect of Bardiche to actually, hold on, no. That's not what we send. We send, where's Ragged Gloves? Where's the bastard? Oh, there he is. We send Ragged Gloves. And then we Ragged Gloves effect. Sending one of our Phantom Knights traps to the graveyard. This will activate, of course, our Torn Scales. We can then discard our Phantom Knight's sword to also dump Ancient Cloak. And then we detach Silent Boots to get back Ragged Gloves, and then that will make another Levier. We're going to banish Silent Boots for a rank up magic launch. Also, I forgot to grab the freaking Shade Brigandine out of the deck for Bardiche effect. Don't worry. I know we have 2 traps engraved, but those traps will be out of there soon enough. Okay, when we set this, Livier effect will bring back this. Of course, we have to actually detach the card. And then we're going to overlay our 2 Livier, sending these back to grave for future, and then future Draco. And then we're going to activate both of these from the grave to special summon out these 2, the ones we haven't used the effects of in the graveyard yet. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to link these 2 away. For Dagda, Dagda's going to set the was the next card. It's going to set the Scythe from the deck face down like so. It's quite the enabler you've got there. Then we're going to overlay these 2 into Breaksword. I know, Breaksword, you usually make it there to capitalize, and we detach. Or rather, we do detach there. Because then we summon Raider's Wing with that effect. Then we are going to link away these 2 into VERTE. We're not going to make it yet. We're going to banish Ancient Cloak. Grab another Raider's Wing. Because we've sort of exhausted what... We've got pretty much a Phantom Knights of every name in the graveyard that we use right now. We're going to then also banish that one to special summon our Raiders Knight and Raiders Wing, and then we're going to go into a rank 4, being Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. And then do we? No, I don't think we actually need that. I think we actually managed to do this like more like better than like in practice. Holy shit. Because we got this for extension on the next turn. In fact, I think we should just switch this out for a Fog Blade, because I feel like I would know. You can discount points for me in the combo if you want to, but seeing as that was like way long ago, but that's, and like we still got one thing we do because we activate this. My phone just made a Vine thud because that's the notification noise I have for it. And we send Celestial, and then we send Dasher, because those are the ones with the good effects. And then we make DPE. So, what does this end board do, per se? Basically, when your opponent starts their turn, you're going to, in the standby phase, you're going to activate DP, right? You're going to standby phase, pop your Verte and your Scythe. Scythe is going to special summon, locking your opponent out of the extra deck before they've even had a chance to go into it. And then, should they start doing their main deck plays, you're going to activate Rank Up Magic Force onto your Rebellion Xyz Dragon. You're going to banish one from graveyard, and you're going to move it over here, because anytime you summon a new monster, you get to pick its own. And then that will activate Bardiche's effect to pop a monster. Probably just banish Seer, because Seer doesn't have any effects that we can take advantage of anymore. And this is going to pop their like normal summon or something like that. And then, if they manage to have anything more on top of that, you can do this. You have 3 negates with Dark Requiem, because it's not a once per turn. And then you have a negate and steal with Utabic Draco Future, which is where this free slot comes in. Basically, this is before the Brave token even comes out. This is just showcasing how dumb, stupid Phantom Knights already are. And they're only going to get better. I hope you guys will either use this deck profile, or if you got some better ideas of what to put in the deck, leave in the comments. But I have a feeling I drew into like the best hand like ever for this deck, and it didn't look like anything all that special. It just had Tour Guide in it, you know. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys with the next deck profile probably next week, like the last week before the ban list. Probably with a deck that I don't think is going to be hit at all.